And that was cool. The Dead and Co. to me feels like more of a church thing.
Yeah.
There's like a church vibe to it, but not in a bad way, like in a good way. Like there's something communal with the Grateful Dead that I don't think any other jam band has. And I think Phish does have like a communal thing, but it's not the same as the Deadhead thing. You know what I mean? It's like there's a spirit there that isn't there with Phish, and I think it has to do with their lyrics, maybe, or just I don't know, maybe just being from the actual '60s and like where it came from. But I think with
sillier, it's just a sillier experience.
It's sillier, yeah.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Best Show Ever podcast, the podcast where I interview people about the best shows they've ever seen in their lives. It's a funny episode we got here, guys. We got a funny guy on the episode, okay? I'm sitting down with musician, podcast host, trivia night game host, Nick Gerlach. If you are a fan of Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast, you are well aware of what Nick can provide to a podcast in the hilarity section. But this is his first time on Best Show Ever. We met on the ship, just doing a bunch of stuff around Andy Frasco and seeing Nick all over the ship. Him and I became quick buddies. I mean, dude's hilarious. He was at all the stuff that I did. I made it all to all the stuff that he did. We got to hang out a bunch and get to know each other. And it was adorable. And we had a blast. And we agreed that when we got back, we had to record a podcast just to chat again. So yeah, here we are talking about Nick's best shows he's ever seen. We talk about, what it's like to play too. Nick is an accomplished saxophonist, accomplished horn player, has played live for years now, and is a guy who has been in his own groups, and he's a guy who has played in other people's groups and added to experiences that you've probably been to. Listen, if you've been to Red Rocks, you might have seen Nick sit in. Okay, you've been to Colorado at all, you might have seen Nick sit in with a band. Guy rips. Okay, it's awesome. Sitting in with everybody on the ship, it was sweet. But just great to talk to a fellow funny guy. Love this episode with Nick. So that's enough intro out of me. I'm going to get straight to the episode. If you guys are enjoying the podcast, please, by all means, like it on Spotify, rate it on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to it on YouTube. If you're enjoying all the episodes right now, we got another one out with that's our live episode with Andy Frasco and Mark Brownstein that happened on the ship at Jam Cruise. So that's a great episode. We got about 7 or 8 other episodes on the Patreon right now that are not released yet. If you want access to those, you can become a member. If you've been supporting the show at all, thank you so much. Appreciate you. You know what? Cannot do it without the support that you guys have been showing. You cracked us into the top 200 music podcasts last week on Apple Podcasts, and that was just the coolest thing for me. Okay, so I appreciate all the support. Enjoy this episode with Nick. But first, here's a little bit of music from Loon. He asked the restaurant owner how much it was, and then
I think it was like for sale.
Oh, okay.
You know, like how sometimes you go in a restaurant, they'll have like art up, and then it's
bunch of art up for sale.
Mm-hmm. But I love Michael Myers. He's my favorite guy.
Just top 1 favorite guy.
Favorite fictional guy, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about favorite real guy. Maybe. I don't know. Who is my favorite? Who's your favorite real guy? Man, it's a tough one. Everybody real sucks.
It's probably Andy.
At least. Oh, wow. You need to. He's not my favorite real. Is there a baby in the background?
There's a baby screaming her head off.
Do you have a kid?
Like outside my window. No, I have a cat. Who's probably also screaming his head off.
That's awesome. I love cats. Who's your favorite real guy? Who kicks ass right now? It could be a woman, I guess, but I doubt it, right?
Yeah, if your favorite real guy isn't a woman, it's a bad answer.
Yeah, you can't have a woman be your favorite real guy.
No, it should be. It really should be.
Oh, honestly. Okay, Democrat. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to start when you are. Are we already started?
I started recording, but we can edit around all this.
You can leave whatever. You can leave anything I say in this podcast. I give 0 shits, dude.
That's perfect.
I talk to Andy Frasco every week for an hour, so
that's the exact kind of attitude to have.
Yeah, If you think it's funny, leave it in.
Okay.
Or interesting. Or even boring. I don't.
It comes out. It's like a 2-minute clip. You're like,
Oh, you know
what the
fuck? Conan might be my favorite guy right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big Conan cuck. I like Conan.
Yeah, dude. That's fair.
He's the wittiest
That's an
guy.
easy.
I'm also 10 years older than you, so he was like cool when I was in high school.
Well, when you said Conan, that made me think Sandler because of their little interaction recently, and that's also like a top guy.
I love Sandler. Sandler's one of those
guy.
Yeah, he's up there. He's probably in my top 5, especially in entertainment. My girlfriend works in like concerts, and she worked for him one day when he plays like arena shows, and he does like music and comedy. And she said he was like the nicest, most down to earth guy she's ever worked for. Which it makes sense.
Shorts? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like going around taking pictures with the janitors after. I don't even know if they asked for it.
Yeah. He's the guy that he's like shaking hands with everybody,
Yeah, he does that. Yeah, he's like asking people about their band t-shirts they have on, shit like that. You recovered from Jam Cruise yet?
Yeah, I think I'm all good. Hold on, I think
Yeah, something happened there. I heard a little wah, but I can still hear you.
I'm out of
What is that mic? Oh, the headphones go into the mic too?
Yeah.
You might want to edit this out.
No, I'm gonna leave this in. I think that's really important kind of stuff to know. I think a lot of people really want to know the inner workings of the podcast and kind of like what's going on in the cans,
Yeah, people love behind the scenes stuff, man. They love to see how the sausage is made.
Like, I fucking love this.
Only EDM kids care about that.
Yeah, if you get a call, take it.
I doubt I'll get a call. Something tells me I won't be getting any calls today. Since it's me.
You blocked it out for the best show ever. I appreciate it, man. Well, this is sick having you on.
It's not because I don't have anything going on. It's because I blocked it out.
Yeah, you blocked me. You blocked it all out for the best show ever.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got to meet and hang on a ship. That's how I wanted to meet you. I was on a boat.
That was fun. You're also way taller than I expected, which was cool. I like that. You kind of had the Clark. What's Clark from Christmas Vacation vibe going all week? Your European vacation with the hat on and it was cool. Your girlfriend, what's her name again?
Jess.
She's really nice.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
I didn't know if I was allowed to say her name on the podcast.
You can bring her up. She's great. She's not allowed to ever be on the podcast, of course.
No, because I mentioned my girlfriend on our podcast sometimes, and now like dudes will come up to me and ask about her, and I'm like, oh shit, now everybody knows my life. You know what I mean? It's like kind of weird, but they're usually cool about it.
It's all good.
It's my fault.
But she said that in a previous episode, I've got Sam from Dogs in the Pile. He picks up his bass and plays it a lot, but when I texted her before this episode, when I was like, I'm about to interview Nick, she's like, oh, you should have him play his sax a bunch through the episode.
That'd be so loud.
I'm gonna get so loud that's not gonna get picked up.
Also, yeah, my neighbors would kill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I'm not good at it anymore either. I quit.
What are you talking about? You're great.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm actually incredible.
You sat in with everybody on Jam Cruise. It was sick.
Yeah, I get around. I guess I'm a sax player, not just a podcaster. I saw you get up with Eggy. How was that?
That was cool. They decided to do that the day I got home from Jam Cruise when I had no brain cells left. But it was cool because I got to improvise. They're like, I guess they've done that on that song before. They've done like an improvised story thing. And so they were like, yeah, throw a little story at the end. So I just made up a little thing.
That's fun. They're kind of blowing up, huh?
Dude, they're great. Yeah. They're great. And the show was fucking awesome. They had really, a good crowd.
Really good.
And
hard to draw.
Was that
hard to draw? It's kind of weirdly, you would think San Francisco is like this, like it is kind of like the cultural center of the jam bands, like in the 60s and 70s. But now it's kind of hard to get people to come out to concerts there. I feel like
California in general, that's the case. It's like everyone's too cool. Man. They're like everyone needs a guest list spot.
Yeah, and everything's expensive as fuck too. You got to factor that in.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, and there is a lot going on still in San Francisco and LA and stuff. So it's like people like the day of will buy tickets.
Yeah, Denver's definitely the center of the that scene for sure now. Cervantes, I think.
Definitely.
I don't know. Have you been here much?
Yeah. Not a ton, but I mean, like in the last couple of years, 3 or 4 times for dicks, you know.
Oh yeah, you're a big Phish guy, right? I went to
Big,
Dick's last year.
big
I went to
Phish
one.
guy.
I went to night 2 of Dick's last year. It was awesome. Hey, look, we have
Oh
the
yeah.
exact same. It's even almost the same amount full. It's fucking
Wow.
wild. What are you
That's
drinking?
crazy.
What are you drinking?
Coffee, just black coffee.
Me too. Iced coffee.
Wow, man.
Wow, man, we're so simpatico.
Just similar guys.
Yeah,
Same guy.
I'm like the fat, none less funny version of you. All right, so we gotta kick the show off. I don't know how to start it.
So the show, we're gonna get to your best shows ever.
Okay.
It's very hard to pick your best show ever, but we'll start off with the first show you ever saw in your life. What's the first concert you ever went to?
Okay, I actually did some homework on this, and I remember my mom. So, little backstory: my mom, Janet, she's still alive. She she moved here from England. She's an immigrant, but she moved here in like high school. So like back then it wasn't cool to have an accent. You know how like if you're a British accent now you pretty much just get laid constantly. Like it's like cool, right? It's like being hot. It's like just as good as being hot. But back then she's like 63, so this is like the 70s, I guess. It wasn't cool to have an accent. So she got really into country music because she wanted to seem like more American. This was in Ohio, by the way. So my first concert when I was, I think 6 or 7 was Randy Travis. I don't remember where it was.
Whoa.
I think outside of Detroit, because I was born in Northwest Ohio. This must have been before I was 6 or 7 because I still live in Ohio. So I grew up in Findlay, Ohio, where I was born there, which is like not far from Detroit, like by Toledo kind of. So my first concert was Randy Travis, and I specifically remember him singing and like people bringing him roses while he was singing. Luckily, I have a good memory. But Randy Travis kind of slaps, like for country guy. He's kind of corny, but he has some great lyrics. Also,
and every single person brings up Randy Travis on the show.
I wish that was true, dude. I thought that'd be an interesting first concert, but my first concert without my parents.
Super is. Yeah, no one's brought that. That's crazy.
I know, because my mom's way into country, so I kind of do like country music because of that. Not like the shit. A lot of it sucks now, but whatever.
Yeah.
Everything. I don't want to sound old, but it just is kind of like, kind of vanilla now, sort of smoothed over. There's a couple good guys. But then my first concert without my parents was, I lived in Indy, or Fort Wayne, and I went down to Indianapolis my freshman year of high school for Green Day. And this is when they were like really popping off. That was really cool. It was like where the Pacers played. And I fell asleep.
At the show?
Yeah, I dozed off in my seat. I was like, isn't that weird? I don't know. I mean, I was 15. I didn't start doing cocaine yet, so.
Right. And so you said you were with friends, or you with your family, or what happened?
Oh, no. It was my first show. Like I went without my parents. So like I went with like a bunch of my friends, and like I think one of her moms drove us because I was 15. You know what I mean?
So did one of your buddies like draw on your face, or like was there like a?
No, I didn't fall asleep for that long. It was just more like I was not like nodding out like a heroin addict. Yeah, exactly. It's just a funny thing to nod out. But yeah, that was a pretty cool show. I mean, I wasn't like super into them, but they're cool. I mean, they're rich as fuck. They have a whole musical.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on. It's Green Day.
Once you hit Broadway, it's over.
Right. Exactly. But there is a time and a place to like Blink-182 and Green Day and shit like that.
Yeah, it's when you're 15.
And it's when you're 15, and it is cool then.
I feel like once you start drinking, Blink-182 is not that cool anymore. It's like it's like their humor is like the same humor as like a youth pastor would have, but like a little dirtier maybe. You know what I mean? But it's like the same beats.
Right. Yeah,
it's like the same energy. But like they might talk about dirtier stuff, but it's like that energy, you know, like hey, you know.
Yeah.
But Tom DeLonge's kind of cool. He's all into aliens now. You know about that?
I was such a major Tom DeLonge fan when I was 14 and 15 years old.
Yeah.
And so I do know that he's into aliens.
It's kind of fun though.
I still check in on Tom every once in a while.
Aliens is kind of one of my favorite conspiracy. If you're gonna be a conspiracy theorist, that's a fun one. You can't really prove them wrong.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Especially and it's picking up steam. It's
also and it's also kind of harmless.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like it's just like it's not like kids in a basement somewhere. Like
Right. He's not doing cabal stuff. It's not cabal
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. There's no Pizzagate. There's no like Epstein to it. It's just like I think there's shit out there. And he's probably right. I mean, there can't be just us, right? That'd be terrible.
It'd be so funny if he's just like, yeah, there are aliens out there, and we have to protect the children because of it.
Just okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's goes back to the
Epstein's spaceship. What was your first show ever?
My first show was Queen with Paul Rogers from
Holy
Bad Company.
Shit.
Yeah.
But obviously it wasn't with Freddie Mercury.
No. It was certain Paul Rogers from Bad Company sang the songs.
But I'm sure you've already talked about this in the pod. I don't want to make everybody listen to this.
No, it was great. Okay. And I went with my dad. And
in Chicago, United Center?
It was in Milwaukee. We moved up to Milwaukee when I was like 10.
Oh, I fucking love Milwaukee, actually.
Yeah, dude. It was at the Bradley Center. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. And they opened with Tie Your Mother Down, and Brian May came out on his guitar like right in front of us. It was like down to down, and it was great. It was a fucking great show.
Brian May might have the best rock and roll guitar tone in history. I mean, if he's on Mount Rushmore, if he's not the best. Did you know he has like a doctorate in astrophysics or something?
Yeah, he's like a genius.
Yeah,
and that is when I was like playing guitar. It was like when I was like 14 or this is probably when I was like 12 when I saw the show. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I knew about the guitar. So even just seeing the guitar was like a huge deal. Yeah. And my parents went to a lot of shows, and so when it was like, hey, you're coming to the show, that was.
Are your parents hippies too?
They are like rocker people. They're not
like how old are they? Like in their 60s or 70s?
60s.
Okay, so they were like kids in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they like they're really big. They were huge Rush fans.
Oh yeah, cool.
And they
even your mom.
Yeah, my mom likes Rush, dude.
You don't meet a lot of chicks.
She pretends like she doesn't, but she fucking knows every song. She knows like deep cuts.
It's like a girl Humphreys fan.
Yeah,
they're rare.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, like they're like big Allman Brothers people, so they're like going to this Brothers shit.
Well, that's jam band. That's jam band.
That's jam bands. But
jam
that's
band
like
adjacent.
Not Deadheads. That's
no. You're right. It's like Southern. It's like it's actually a little more palatable. They don't like Phish though. They never got into Phish because they're like at the perfect.
They are going to their first Phish show this summer at the United Center. It's
with you?
Yeah. It's gonna be.
Are you gonna give them? Are you gonna give them mushrooms?
Yeah,
they do mushrooms and stuff.
They do now.
And they're buying.
They're restaurant people, like my parents own a restaurant. Like, yeah, and so like they're restaurant people smoke pot and they party.
They used to do cocaine for sure. There's no way they didn't do cocaine when they were younger.
At some point, they were definitely doing some cocaine. I feel,
or at least their employees did. They've been around. I mean, they're not strangers to this world,
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think that the restaurant world is drug adjacent in a big way.
Their music.
That's what I learned about Phish was in the kitchen at Osiris.
Yeah, they're music people. They're like just like musicians. Like when you get off a gig. And you're like a local musician like I was in my 20s, and you play some jazz gig, and then you go to the bar after. It's always you and a bunch of bartenders and servers.
Yeah, dude.
We're the same people.
Very similar people. Yeah, and they had great taste in like entertainment. Like we would go see stand up and a bunch of different concerts and stuff. And so I see what you're doing right now too. You're also a podcast host. So now you're interviewing me, and now all of a sudden.
Yeah, but Andy's the worst at that.
Yeah.
If he's a guest on a podcast, he like becomes the host 10 minutes in. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's what he did on the ship. That episode.
I know.
When it comes out, you'll hear it. And
I don't know if it's out yet. Yeah.
He wasn't trying to. Brownie just turned to Andy and was just like answering to Andy. And because we like did this joke right away where we like, let's get close. And we like sat really close next to each other. And then all of a sudden I was like, for Brownie to look at me, he had to be like, what's up? What's going on?
I know. And you guys kiss. I don't want to ruin it, I guess, but you guys did kiss.
Yeah.
Anyway, ask me stuff. Sorry, I went to.
Yeah. No. Do you have a worst show that you ever saw?
Oh yeah,
and you don't like put down an artist or anything right now.
No, I'm gonna put down the artist.
Okay, cool. I love it
because it's not a jam band person or anybody we know. It's Marilyn Manson. So I was probably this was like in Indy. I wasn't there to see him. It was like this metal festival, and I went to see Slayer, who played right before him. I'm not like a huge Slayer guy, but like they don't come around much. I think they're like kind of my favorite metal band, maybe. And I was just like, I gotta go see Slayer. You know what I mean? I got the day off Saturday. Let's go get drunk and watch Slayer. So they ruled. And then Marilyn Manson was like the headliner after them and he must have been pilled out of his mind or something. He could barely sing. He was all over the place. He's also like his music's very dated. Like Slayer, like metal ages very well because it was ridiculous even when it was popular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like metal's never been like in the moment. It's just like ridiculous. But Marilyn Manson was like very much a 90s thing. And this was probably like, I don't know, 2010 or something. And it sounded like shit. And it was just dumb. And I left three songs in. And then you find out he kind of sucks in real life too. I don't know if you follow that, but he's kind of a bad guy.
He really does. And so, yeah, it's actually perfectly fine to bring up that he's a
shithead. So I have no problem. Making fun of him. It was terrible. And I kind of wanted to give him a chance because I was kind of like in high school when he was cool and he had that. This is before he got in trouble too. So I wasn't like ignoring anything. But he had
a fucked up show sucks. That's usually what gets brought up for the worst show ever. It's like
he was definitely on pills or something. Like definitely something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the worst.
Yeah, and then like when you're fucked up in the crowd for that, or if you're just like, okay, this sucks. Now this whole thing sucks.
Yeah, but I got my money's worth for Slayer. I was there to see Slayer, so I just left.
Yeah, perfect.
And I wasn't the only one. It was at Verizon Wireless, now Ruoff Mortgage Center, formerly Deer Creek in Indianapolis. Have you been there for a Phish show?
I have. I fucking love that place, man.
I think Phish likes that venue a lot too.
Yeah,
like they go there a lot. It's a sick venue. Been there for a while now.
It's Alpine Valley, but smaller.
A little smaller.
Easier to get around.
I've never been to Alpine Valley, but I heard it's less slanted too than like the lawn is a little more manageable. I don't know.
It is massive, and there's a lot of cops, and
a lot of cops.
But
that's the problem.
Like Deer Creek felt like it was pretty lawless. There's just people out doing balloons and shit, and
which is weird because it's in Hamilton County, which is like a very, very conservative, rich county in Indiana. It's like a northern suburb of Indianapolis. I think it's one of the richer counties in America, weirdly, even though it's in Indiana. So that's how rich it is. Like even in a poor ass state, there's rich people there. So, but yeah, I think they kind of look the other way, or the money goes one way and goes another. Another crazy story about the Grateful Dead story there, right?
Well, which one?
Okay, it was like not long before Jerry died. It's the one where they stormed the gates. Everybody jumped in. Yeah, and it was like a big deal. Yeah. That also happened at Deer Creek. So I don't know. Pretty interesting place. I didn't know if you'd been there before.
We stayed with this dude named Bob. I booked the Airbnb, and it was like on a little lake. It was really cool. But I didn't know that he was going to be there, and he's there. He was there every day.
It should be illegal.
And he had it was a fucking sweet Airbnb. We had like a hot tub and all this stuff, and we had all these party favors, and he had all these like Entenmann's donuts on the table when we got there.
Ooh, hell yeah! I love
Entenmann's donuts. And then he was like, "Well, I'll drive you guys to the shows every night," and
okay, well, you did save $80 a day on Ubers at least.
But then those guys are like buying balloons on the lot, those guys, all of us. And we're like walking to the car, and I can see Bob in his car, and every one of us has balloons. And then I'm like, we should probably be like not having these as we're getting up to sweet old Bob's car, because he kind of fit the county vibe. He didn't really.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. So was he mad about it, or was he cool? Because sometimes they don't care, old men.
I think he was thoroughly confused by the whole experience.
Oh. Because every once in a while you'll get like a Vietnam vet, and they're cool. They're still cool with drugs, even though they don't do it anymore. You know what I mean?
I think that he had no idea why we were going to the shows 3 days in a row. He had no idea why this was happening in the way it was at that venue. I think he had no idea what the fuck was going on.
He just wanted his money. I was trying to think of my least favorite jam band show I've ever seen, but I couldn't really. I'm pretty lucky. I don't go. I'm always playing, so I only go when it's like really good, I guess. I don't know, but. Probably some stupid local band at a festival on a side stage that no one's ever heard of anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or probably something I was on stage for, honestly.
With the sit-in thing, especially on Jam Cruise, like I feel like that feels like it's got to be like there's so many moving parts, and there's so many everyone's sitting in with everyone, and you're on a goddamn ship in the middle of the ocean, but it went off so well. There's no sound issues. I feel like I heard everyone every time. Like,
yeah, you just gotta be really just in that situation. It's like you can't complain because it's like it's not going to be perfect. So just get through it. You know what I mean? And everybody on the working on there's a pro, so at least they get the best out of the situation. And that, and all the musicians are really fucking good on that boat. There's no like, so that helps too. But I'm just like, that's all I've been sitting in with bands. Like when you're a horn player, that's like pretty much half your career. You know what I mean? You come up for 3 songs, then you hope you're not too late so you can drink. You know what I mean? But yeah, so
in baseball.
Yeah, kind of. I have called myself that a lot, or like a relief pitcher at least, depending on
like
who
Mariano
else.
Rivera.
Yeah, maybe not that good, but pretty good. But let's not be the GOAT. But yeah, so it is a weird thing sitting in, like, because you have to like pace yourself out. You have to be like, because they've all been on stage for an hour, and they're like let's say you're sitting in at like Red Rocks. Jam Cruise isn't the best example because it's not that high stress. So like a high stress gig like Red Rocks, like some EDM guy or whatever will have me out, and I'll sit in for 3 songs, like 3 quarters of the way through. The hardest thing there is like they've been playing a show for an hour, so like you have to be like get yourself to their energy. And I'm already kind of like low energy. I'm not like super anxious guy anyway. You know what I mean? Right. You've been around me. Like I'm not like I don't get like nervous and shit. So like that's the hardest. I have to like create nervous energy for myself. And the other thing is like don't get too drunk.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like too drunk, you know what I mean? But yeah, the hardest thing is just like that, like what I said, like everybody else is like they're like in show mode and you're like walking out like, I've
just been sitting.
Yeah, I've been talking to your girlfriend side stage. She's nice. She was nice. I didn't know she was a nurse, you know what I mean? She's actually more interesting than all of you guys. But that's the hardest thing. But you're also fresh too, so there's like 2 sides to that, I guess.
Yeah, but if you've been sitting around like just drinking the backstage beers, and all of a sudden you're 6 beers deep, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, can't be doing that.
Everybody's got their powder drugs. They're like trying to get you high, and you're like, I can't wait. Give me 20 minutes.
I have to close the show and then party.
And then we're gonna do a lot really fast so I can catch up to you guys.
Believe you me.
Yeah, I am the closer, and I will be closing your bag.
I'll be closing the party as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I'm actually not that big of a druggy guy, but it is fun sometimes.
Hey, man, especially after a show. Come on.
Yeah,
we're having a good time.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick your best show ever. But do you have any honorable mentions that like shows that you would be remiss if you didn't bring them up?
I know I have a best show actually. It's D'Angelo. It's D'Angelo at North Coast. I can't remember what year it was.
Damn.
I think 2015. So D'Angelo is like probably top 5 favorite guy for me ever musically. It's him. Yeah. He's definitely my probably top 5 guy that's like still, even though he only makes an album every 10 years, he's still active, right? Like I think he has a new album. They were talking about it coming out. I don't know. I saw some posts. I'm not like that big of a fanboy, but musically he's my favorite. And he was on that tour. I think this is 2015. You know North Coast? You're kind of from Chicago. You know that festival?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I used to be in this band Cosby Sweater, and we played like the stage right behind his stage, and we got done like right as he started. So I popped over, ran, which means I had a good pass, so I could stand at the soundboard and watch, or like some VIP area. And it was like the best band I've ever seen in my life. I love all that music. To me, he's like the modern Prince. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, yeah, that's a great comparison.
He's like Prince mixed with like I don't know, his own thing, obviously. But Questlove was, he had like his actual like number 1 guy on every instrument. He had Pino on bass, he had Questlove on drums, he had Raphael Sadiq on guitar, and then like a couple horns and the singer. So I mean, it was like,
yeah, that's crazy.
And the band is perfect, and like you see it, and then it's like the band is just as good as the record. It's like, and it's a festival, which makes it even harder to do that. Plus, it's Chicago. I fucking love Chicago. And anything outdoors in the summer in Chicago is just going to be like, I mean, you grew up there, so like,
yeah, and the crowd's gonna love it too. And that is such a Chicago show. Like the D'Angelo show is such an outdoor.
Yeah. And I just fucking love D'Angelo. I mean, I feel like he's a little underrated or just not like famous enough for how important he is. But I think it's also on him a little bit. He'll kind of disappear for 10 years. I don't think he wants to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Questlove's more famous than him, I would think, right now. And he's the drummer,
I think that if Prince were around if Prince would have gotten famous in the same time, like in these days, I think that he would be a lot more like D'Angelo.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, he doesn't have a Michael Jackson to kind of compete against or something. And then
Right.
music pop
Mhm.
world isn't in that kind of
Right.
space. And
Well,
so,
also people that got famous in the late 70s, like I think Prince's first album came out in 79 or maybe 80.
yeah.
People got more famous then because there was just like less famous people. Like you know what I mean? It's called, there's like there's no monoculture anymore. You know what that is?
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah, no, exactly.
like monoculture is like the whole culture can focus on one thing because like media is all trained on that thing. There's no internet making these little silos of different fame. So like when you get as famous as Prince, you're just going to be way more famous than D'Angelo is going to be in 2010. It's just impossible. Like there really isn't, like there'll never be another Michael Jackson. There'll never be any, even Taylor Swift. I guess maybe Taylor Swift is that famous, but like it feels different though, because like I don't think black people like her that much.
Nope.
I mean, you know what I mean? Not the way everybody liked Michael Jackson though.
No, yeah, right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
No one,
yeah.
and
Like, I don't know.
she got the beginning of her fame kind of right as we started getting into this culture of, like you said, all the different
She got
silos.
lucky. Yeah, she's right at the end, and then she weaponized millennial white women like better than anyone in the history of mankind. You know what I mean? Her and Trump.
And who could possibly ride harder for you than a millennial white woman? Like that's like a fucking.
I mean, yeah, they're the scariest people on earth.
Fan you could have.
They're the scariest people on earth. Like I host this weekly
trivia
show. I host this weekly trivia show here in Denver, and it's like the only time I ever get any pushback on the joke is from a 35-year-old white woman. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Don't make fun of Ryan Reynolds in front of them. Actually, now you can because he got in trouble, but before that, hell no. Hell no. So I was trying to think of my favorite jam band show, and I was gonna say like, okay, so I'm from Indiana, right? So the first jam band I got into was Humphreys, and now they're my homies. So like, the luster is kind of worn off. You know what I mean? Like, but when I first saw them, they were still cool to me. I was like 23, and like I had only heard the one album, and like there was a mystery about them, right? So I would say that was like my favorite first jam band show. Plus, everything was just cooler and newer then to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
And I wasn't like a working full-time musician. I was still like, like I had a day job, and it was still kind of like a pipe dream. So like these guys were cool to me then. Now I'm like, God, I wish I did something else. No, I'm just kidding. But so I think like one of my first favorite jam band shows was definitely like Humphreys at this like small festival, Funk Fest, and they were amazing. I mean, obviously, have you seen them live?
No, I've never seen Humphreys.
Okay, so like they're like whether you're into their music or not, they are like extremely impressive, like as far as their execution of what they're trying to do, and they've always been that. So like that was really cool just to see a band be like, holy shit, you can do that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And my first Phish show was like actually not the best Phish show because it was like I think it was 2004, which wasn't a great time for them. You know what I mean?
Nah.
It was like right before Trey had to go to rehab or whatever. I don't know the times of that. It was good. It was good, but the crowd was super annoying. And this is like I feel like the crowd at Phish shows right now is much easier to be in than it was in 2004. It's less drugged out. You know what I mean? I mean, there's still people on drugs. Don't get me wrong. First of all, there's way more attractive women. They somehow have gotten way more good-looking women to come to their shows.
Oh, especially in the Colorado scene is just a younger. It's just every demographic is represented a little bit more. Like I feel like in Chicago, like or sometimes in Wisconsin, just a lot of fucking dudes.
Yeah, so maybe that's part of it too.
Dudes. But I mean, like I feel like there's like when you for some reason in Denver, there's like college age guys and girls, 30-year-old guys and girls, 40-year-old guys and girls, like all the way up, and instead of just like old dudes,
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's like that might be part of it because the first time I saw him was in Indiana. But I also just thought like, it was also a little bit, I mean, the internet existed then, but it wasn't obviously what it is now. And like, I just feel like the scene was a little, you're like more likely to get robbed back then, or like, you know what I mean? Like there was a little bit shadier vibe to it. The guys were dirtier. You don't see as many like dirty, crusty looks anymore like you used to, I feel like. Maybe because they can't afford it.
Well, the other thing is like, and I think this is kind of like Midwest jam band people, are different than like the East Coast, because like on the East Coast it's like it's very accepted, it's very much like a bigger part of their culture, there's a lot more people who do it, and so I think it maybe is a little less shady and always has been. I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, except for the
Like
nitrous.
in the Midwest, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
it's a
Midwest people are the best people though in the
they are the
country.
best people,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
feel like that is I don't know. It was a smaller part of the subculture where I was from, like in Illinois, definitely in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Like,
and I just don't think the band was at their best then, but it was still like a spectacle, you know. But I don't know, and I wasn't like a big enough Phish fan to really probably appreciate like the cultural aspect of it. Maybe my first I did see Dead and Co once. I obviously never saw the Grateful Dead with Gary Garcia. I was like 10 when he died or whatever. So, and that was cool. The Dead and Co to me feels like a more of like a church thing.
yeah,
There's like a church vibe to it, but not in a bad way, like in a good way. Like there's something communal with the Grateful Dead that I don't think any other jam band has. And I think Phish does have like a communal thing, but it's not the same as the Deadhead thing. You know what I mean? It's like there's a spirit there that isn't there with Phish, and I think it has to do with their lyrics, maybe, or just I don't know, maybe just being from the actual '60s and like where it came from. But I think
Fish is
with
sillier. It's just a sillier experience all
it's
over.
sillier, yeah, and it's like
Yeah,
it's more different kinds of people. Yeah, you're right. It's just sillier, which is good. I mean, it's not like a good bad thing. It's like you can't have two Grateful Deads. You got to have a Phish and a Grateful Dead, you know.
yeah. Like the Dead is a little more like, yeah, this is like this
But I kind of
Americana,
yeah.
fucking.
Yeah, like I would argue that the Grateful Dead isn't a jam band, kind of like how I would argue like Steely Dan isn't a yacht rock band.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they
Right,
set the
right,
template, but they are not. They don't fit the mold of anything else that came after it. Like,
right. Like they say in that yacht rock documentary that just came out, which is really good. I don't know if you've
I
seen it.
fucking love that
The
documentary.
Steely Dan isn't yacht rock. They are the primordial ooze from which yacht rock emerged, which I think is the same thing with the Grateful Dead and jam bands.
That's exactly right.
One thing that's fascinating with me about I've been thinking about this Dead Phish thing a lot lately is like there's like a million Grateful Dead tribute bands, you know, and there's like
Yeah.
six Phish ones. Why do you think that is?
I was just saying that. I mean, because I did recently go and see a Phish tribute band, and I got to be honest,
It doesn't
and I
hit, does
left
it?
and I thought it was great. It was the Great Divide. They're like a West Coast. They're like a LA.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They were great. I have left some Phish tribute stuff
Yeah,
because I'm just like, this is just not
it has to
doing
be
it for me.
Trey. It has to be Trey for some reason.
But then,
Where,
like, they're Grateful Dead. Like, I will literally watch anyone play Grateful Dead music.
I know.
I
Yes,
truly,
it's a
I think it's great.
songbook. Yeah, it's like more like it's like how jazz like there's like the Great American Songbook. I feel like that's how the Grateful Dead is for American music, like or American
And
rock music.
Phish,
Like,
there's these like tightly composed parts that I don't
mm-hmm,
really want to hear. I mean, like, there's
mm-hmm.
it's tough for Phish to nail these parts on most nights, you know? Fuck.
Yeah,
And
they
like,
don't sometimes.
I don't know. There have been very few Phish cover band
Yeah.
experiences where I've been like, that was sweet. I mean, Pink Talking
Well,
Fish started playing Reba on the boat on
yeah.
Jam Cruise.
Which
I
one's
was like,
Reba?
that's
Is how's it
like
like
Reba's
like
taking a boulder
fast?
in the water.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Uh,
It's classic.
and,
I'm not like a big
and
Phish head, but once you give me that again, I know what it is. Yeah,
and there's parts of that are fucking crazy. And I
yeah,
was like, uh-oh. I was almost a little like, uh-oh. Are
yeah,
they this is a big old steak
yeah.
to chew. And they nailed it. It was fucking awesome.
Right.
It was really, really great. But I
Even
will
if you
listen.
nail it, it's like it has to be. For some reason, the difference between Trey and Jerry, and it's not a good bad thing. I think Jerry's like maybe easier to emulate. It has to be Trey for me with the Phish shit. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Trey is just such a singular. Like I'm a Phish. They're cool, but I like Trey. I love Trey. I think Trey's like a genius. I think he's like one of the greatest rock composers of the last 30 years. I think he's a musical genius. I think Phish
Yep.
is a really good band, but like unlike another thing that speaks to this tribute thing, which sorry I'm rambling about this, but I think it's kind of interesting. That speaks to this Grateful Dead versus Phish, tribute thing. It's like a bunch of guys in the Grateful Dead have died and like they replaced them and moved on, and it's still really good, right? I
Yeah.
think if once one guy in Phish
Oh,
dies, it's over.
it's complete. There's no possible you
Mm-hmm.
cannot replace any of those guys with anybody. There's
Yeah,
no
not
possibility.
even the keyboard player. Like it's
No.
over at that point. Which kind of it's cool to me. Like it speaks to them. It's very it makes them unique, which is why I think like you either love them or hate them. There's not like a lot of people who are like, yeah, Phish is good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and when we were talking about top guys, I didn't want to be too cliche, but Trey is fucking absolutely my top guy. I mean, the guy fucking, yeah, it's his. I mean, first of all,
No,
his
be
guitar
cliche,
tone.
you know? Yeah.
You were also talking about guitar tone earlier, and he is, his guitar tone is probably Trey's
Yeah.
is my favorite guitar tone of all time.
Yeah, hard to
Next
argue.
like
I mean,
Zappa or someone like that. I mean,
I'll take
Trey's.
him over Zappa. Yeah.
I never saw Zappa, so I got to
Yeah.
see. I've seen Trey a bunch, and it's
Yeah.
his guitar in that when it fills a room is like there's kind of nothing like that.
No one makes it sing like him. He can just make that fucking thing sing, dude. And I'm like, God damn it. He must listen to a lot of horn players.
Yeah, I think he
has
does.
that vibe.
And like
Yeah.
the voice of the soloing, I'm just I'm so into. He's like inside of my fucking brain, in a way that like, I don't. And I'm not saying that like all these Grateful Dead tribute bands like get me to where the Grateful Dead do it, but like it is very difficult.
It's closer though. It's way closer.
For a Phish tribute to do it for me.
It's way closer. It's like it's easier to emulate the Grateful Dead for sure, which isn't like a judgment call. It's just a fact, And
do you think that's why? I mean, do you feel like their musicians either don't like don't like Phish or don't know Phish, or do you feel like that's why musicians don't cover Phish? Is it because it's just a little like?
I think they don't cover Phish because, well, some guys like think it's corny, which there's something to be said for that. Like covering Phish while they're still playing like giant stadiums and you're also a jam band, it's a little weird. But I think it's just hard to sound like Trey, man. Like you have to have like the right guitar, like you have to like have his setup, like you have to like devote your life to sound like Trey, which is a waste of time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just there's already Trey. I think Grateful Dead's a little easier because like their music's also like if you take away the Grateful Deadness of it, if you take away the tie-dye and the culture and the drugs, it's kind of country music or rhythm and blues.
Yeah,
they're not writing like obviously there's exceptions to this. They have on 9 million songs, but like a bulk of their catalog is like traditional American folk music or bluegrass or country or R&B. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot easier to like just copy that. Whereas Phish is writing this weird fucking anthemic, like Zappa influence, jazz, like it's just like
there's nothing like it.
What the amount of time it would take to emulate Phish is like a waste of time if you want to be a creative person.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And so maybe down the line somewhere when they stop, there will be some kids that are like really into wanting to recreate that, and they'll, but right now to do it, it's
way cooler to do it after someone dies. It is.
Oh,
I was in an LCD Sound System tribute band for a while. You know that band at all?
Oh, I fucking love LCD Sound System.
But we quit because they came back. So we're like, we're not doing this.
And they're pretty good at doing LCD Sound System.
Yeah, they're the best at it. That's and it's like I'm not really into the idea of being in a tribute band. Like, while the band is still the Grateful Dead isn't really the Grateful Dead anymore, so that's fine. It's insane the market for that shit though.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you can play these venues, and I think that like Phish is a little different because there's just not that many bands that last for 40 or 50 fucking years, and so like, yeah,
there are none. No.
It makes sense that there's a market for it, but like, yeah, sometimes when you're telling someone that isn't into that music that you're going to a Grateful Dead cover show and but you're going to a Grateful Shred, which is like the guys from Circles Around the Sun, and it's gonna be really fucking good.
Yeah,
people are like, "You're going to a fucking cover show?" I'm like,
"Yeah, exactly." But they go see but they'll go see some cover band all the time too. But it's like not doing one song. But the Grateful Dead are so fascinating, and like just how many people will go see a tribute band. Like there's just such a market for them. It's like I feel like in 300. One thing with Phish is I don't know if people will be listening to Phish in like 300 years, but people will definitely be listening to Grateful Dead in 300 years.
Wow, that's a good take.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I obviously won't. I probably won't be alive to see that.
The Grateful Dead is just such a bigger thing than Phish is.
I just think it.
I'm a Phish fan first. I'm a mass, and I'd like to believe that Phish is as big of a deal and as big of a cultural thing as the Grateful Dead, but the Dead is just it reaches very, very far.
Well, the lyrics of Grateful Dead kind of hit more like for like the average person too, I think, than Phish. And I actually like Phish more. Like I would probably rather go to a Phish show than a Dead & Co show right now.
Oh fuck yeah!
I mean, they're a better band. It's just better. It's just like they're better musicians. You know what I mean? Whatever. But there's just something that like there's not Phish t-shirts in Target. You know?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the point, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a little by design by them too. They would super rather not have.
Right. It's not like a judgment. Yeah. Most bands aren't going to be listened to in 300 years. Like the only musician we know, Bach, Beethoven, there was other classical composers 400 years ago. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So it's like, it's not like a judgment call either. Like some of the best shit ever.
Dude, it was a monoculture, dude. There was just one guy.
It was just Bach.
It was actually a mono music.
Probably. I mean, can you imagine if they had internet? I wonder what Bach would have been like if he had TikTok. He was a hoe. He had like 25 kids, so he'd probably been a fucking canceled.
Oh yeah, you just need to hear the album. You don't need to
exactly.
see what that guy's doing. You just need to hear the album.
Yes, for sure, dude. I think a lot of artists could learn from that these days.
Is there has there ever been a moment in your career, like a best show moment for you that you've performed in personally?
Okay. All right, so there's a couple of different ways to look at that. So like biggest like spectacle was definitely like 2015. I played the main stage at Electric Forest, like between Humphrey sets. Humphrey sets. So that was, as far as like, I don't think it was my best show musically. It was like a set tweener between the two Humphrey sets, but there were 25,000 people there. It was like insane. It was pre-name change, so like people were still into it. So like that was and it was my shit. It wasn't like me sitting in with another band.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
So that's a good one. My other good one is
what did that feel like? Like really like connecting with an audience of 25,000 people. Do you feel like you were getting reaction from all the way through like
That's a great question. And here's the thing with that is you get more nervous playing for like 30 people in a jazz bar than you do playing for 25,000 people at a
I always say this about
because it's like you're looking at it's like you might as well be looking at a picture. It's like no one's real, like nothing's real out there. You know what I mean? Like you can't see anybody, you can't find anyone you know. There's no you just like they're gonna like even if only half the crowd cheers, it sounds loud as shit. You know what I'm saying? So just don't get booed and you're fine. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think like it is like I've played a bunch of other bigger shows. I've played Red Rocks I've played Red Rocks a ton, but definitely nothing beats like the first time you play Red Rocks. Like, and then the first, which was I think I opened for Pretty Lights in 2016 October. Yeah, so like that was playing with Menard then, Michael Menard, and we opened for Pretty. No, that might have been Soundtrack. Whatever, doesn't matter. It was sold out. Red Rocks. You walk out, nothing feels there. There are cooler venues than Red Rocks. I like to play more. Like even the Mission. And have you even been to the Mission in Denver yet?
I haven't been yet. No.
I think it's the best indoor venue in the country. I think they're going to build some more in other cities too. Anyway, so I kind of am more comfortable playing there, but like nothing on earth beats the first time you walk out to Red Rocks to a bunch of people. Like the way it is 10,000 people, but speaking to your point about the Electric Forest thing earlier, it doesn't feel like that. It's way more intimate. Yeah. Because of the way it's slanted, you can see people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, so that was a good one. And then the other good one for me at Red Rocks was String Cheese, like right before the pandemic, their last show before the pandemic, Red Rocks. I didn't play the whole show, but it was like, I was in their horn section that night. And it was like String Cheese, which is like the quintessential Colorado jam band.
That's the Red Rock show, dude. That's the, I mean,
And walking after that, and the difference there is it's dark.
Yeah.
Like when you open at Red Rocks, it's still light out. So it does take a little of the luster away. When you go out there and it's dark and it's String Cheese and you're in Colorado, I always say with if someone asks me like what is the quintessential jam band, I actually say it's String Cheese.
I think a lot of people say that. And I think that there are a lot of people who saw the Dead that are like that the String Cheese experience is closer to like the Dead family vibe. Because everyone's dancing and everyone's,
Yeah. No, I do. And they also match like the modern culture of jam bands where they'll cover an electronic song or they'll they can do a lot of good covers. They're the second best cover band after Humphreys. And like it just hits the silly thing. They're in Colorado. It's silly, but they can also be serious. They are like it's like a jam band like charcuterie board.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I don't know, those are some of my favorite moments. But my favorite
Yeah.
moment is like, honestly, like musically, it was like at a wedding. I played with Bernard Purdy at a wedding once.
Sick.
I don't know, he's like the greatest drummer of all time. So like, no one saw it. You know, it didn't. I mean, some people saw it, but like, you know, I get to
Yeah.
die and say I played with Bernard Purdy. So
I mean, those are cool experiences.
yeah,
That's not a show, and you didn't get booked.
yeah,
But I mean, fuck yeah. Or maybe
yeah.
you did. I don't know. I have no idea.
What?
At the wedding.
No, I was in the wedding band. Yeah. I was in the
Oh
band
yeah,
with him. Yeah. It was me, Eddie Roberts, Bernard Purdy. I think a couple other New Master Sounds guys, maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was like basically the New Master Sounds guys with Bernard Purdy on drums and me.
that's crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's sick.
Yeah. And Bernard was cool.
Yeah.
You know, he's old, but he's like, you know, he's still Bernard Purdy. He's only gonna get so bad, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean those are experiences that you'll have forever, and also I mean like the performing for a huge crowd like that. I mean, like you said, I've always been like it is more difficult to perform to like a group of 8 people,
Dude,
like
it's
smattered
impossible.
around a room like in a small room than it is a full packed because it's just one group of people. You're just performing to one swath of folks.
Yeah.
One big organism instead of like that guy over there, that guy.
You
over
can
there.
tell when they don't like it when there's 8 people there.
Oh yeah, you can definitely tell.
Even if they're being polite, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess those are my favorite moments. I don't. Nothing else is probably. You know, there's probably some serve shit that went crazy, but that's every other weekend. So
I think my best show that I ever just performing wise ever did was probably opening for you guys on Jam Cruise. That was probably
yeah. And people were like, "What the fuck is this guy doing up here?" And that was us. What an awkward situation. That was a fun podcast, though. I thought the live podcast coming along. I love doing that shit with Andy, though. He's the man.
Dude, yeah, that's a fucking great show. I would love to have a fucking cool co-host like you, dude.
I'll take that as a compliment. You know, it's hard to find a good co-host.
Hey, I don't feel like he values you, dude.
I'm gonna clip this out and send it to him.
Yeah, I've always felt like
you
could probably have a bigger role on some other podcast. I don't know.
Speaking of that, I am about to start my own side podcast.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, it's gonna be like a 15-minute weekly trivia podcast.
Oh fuck yeah!
With obviously a bunch of dry humor and my personalities. Because I do a trivia show every Monday in Denver. Have I told you about that?
Nice.
It's like a yacht club. It's called the Yacht Club. It's like in Rhino. It's like it won best cocktail bar in North America last year. They have the best drinks you'll ever have in your life. So I've been doing it there for about 2 years. And people keep wanting me to live stream it. And it's just like, I don't want to do that. I already have enough going on. Like it's dark in there. I kind of want that to be that. So you have to go to it, So I decided I started to pare it down to like a 15-minute thing I can put out every week, almost like what an NPR would do, but like funny.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So that's
great.
That'd be cool. So I can, put my own without Andy interrupting me. No, I'm just kidding.
For God's sakes, dude. Finally.
Andy's the man, dude.
No, he really is, dude.
I'm glad people are coming around on him. People used to kind of hate on him a little bit too much.
Yeah, no, I don't care what anyone says. Andy's awesome.
Well, anybody that's met him knows he's cool, but like people used to hate on him musically a lot more than they do. I think his band's gotten a lot better, and also they didn't like the gimmick shit. But it's like your favorite band is Phish. You can't pretend you don't like gimmicks. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't like say you hate gimmicks, but also like the trampoline jumpy band.
Right, exactly. And
you like gimmicks.
There are so few things nowadays that are like and I mean this like in the best way possible, like falling apart at the seams on stage. Like everything is so safe. Everything is so like you get exactly the show. Like and Andy's show, like it's like, is he gonna be okay? Or like is like now the guy's standing up on something. It's a very rock and roll.
Yeah, and his music's got
show.
His songs have gotten better too, which helps.
Yeah, the songs are great. And like, I mean, they're great for when you're in the room too. You fucking get way into it and you're singing along. And I hadn't seen a Frasco show before Jam Cruise. And I came up to him after the first when he played on the pool deck. And I was like, I fucked up, dude. I fucked up and I haven't seen a show before.
I think some people are like, how Why do you think the jam band? You can speak to this because you come from a little more of a fan perspective than I do musically, obviously. So, like, why do you think the jam band fans are so territorial? I've been really thinking about this a lot lately.
People, I like to think about this as like people really like to like play it like the stock market. Like I am
Yeah.
investing in the next
Uh-huh.
Phish, and I
Yeah.
was there for these shows, and I was
Uh-huh.
there for these experiences.
Like crypto.
And I found them first. These are my guys. Like, I feel like
That's a good point.
there's also a level of like seeing yourself in someone. Like there are the people who really like Billy Strings are like, that's fucking me,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
same
yeah,
way
yeah.
that Deadheads did that to Jerry. They're like, that is who I am, you
Yeah.
know. And there's like there's different little factions of that. I feel like the
Also, it's
Goose,
regional. You want the guy from your area to blow up, kind of, I think.
yeah, you definitely want the guy from your area to blow up. And you
But then
want
as soon as they blow up, they hate him.
yeah, right. Yeah, they're like, wow, I'm fucking sold out.
Goose, people hate Goose, man. I don't get it. It's like, I mean, whatever. You don't have to like them, but they act like they were a band for like 10 years before they blew up. People don't realize this because like
Yeah.
just because you never heard of them doesn't mean they didn't exist. That's kind of the fucking point. That's what every band does. You know what I'm saying? Like you just weren't there, which is fine. And whatever, if they're not your favorite music, yeah, it can be like a little vanilla maybe or whatever.
Yeah.
I think Rick's great. Whatever. He's nice to me. He's a great guitar player. But I don't really understand the way these guys. I think there's some jealousy involved. A lot of armchair quarterback. I have a guitar at home vibes.
Definitely guy having a guitar at home, guys, or
Yeah.
vibes for sure. That, and I also just feel like people, because there's like this is the next that sort of vibe around them, like they are the next Phish. Like they're not. They're just they live in a completely different lane. Like
Yeah, they're not as weird as Phish. It's like a little different thing. Yeah.
I always say that there's like if Phish lives like right here and Dave Matthews Band lives like right here, Goose lives in some little slot right between them. Like,
Yeah, that's a good one.
like they are
Yeah.
jammy, but they are also like a just kind of vibes, like good vibes band,
Yeah. Yeah.
and pretty harmless overall. And so like I
Yeah.
don't yeah, and they're not there's like they're just not the same like cultural thing as Phish at all.
Well, that's
Like
impossible. That's never going to
yeah.
happen again because the internet exists. It's over, guys. Stop trying to make that. It's never going to happen. Like the Phish thing can never happen again. The Grateful Dead thing can never happen again.
And they would really rather you not compare.
They're not trying to be that. Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just like a LeBron Jordan thing. Like LeBron is like, I'd really rather you not compare me to Mike.
Yeah, they're totally different.
Like
they're actually
I'm not
totally
that.
different players. Yeah, like
yeah.
LeBron's a lot more like Magic Johnson than he is.
Right.
Or whatever, but like
and if I could just live in my own lane and you don't compare me to that, because that's fucking impossible to live up to.
And it's
like a similar thing,
It's not like there's going to be zero similarities either, because like, they're from Connecticut and they're like grew up listening to jam bands, so there's going to be a little Phish in there.
Yeah, they are influenced by it for sure.
Every band's influenced by something. There's no like, even Les Special has influences. You know what I mean?
But I feel like I hear just as much Derek Trucks out of Rick as I do.
I don't hear a lot of Trey out of him at all.
I hear just as much like Dave Matthews Band influence as I hear Phish influence, and I feel like the songwriting. I don't think any Goose song sounds like a Phish song.
No,
there's
sounds more like a indie rock jam band or something. I don't know. But I think they're cool. I mean, whatever. I mean, like
they're great, and like you said, they're fucking cool guys. Rick is he's super funny dude.
Yeah, Rick's actually that's a good point. Rick is like kind of has this like he's like pretty shy like outwardly, publicly, I guess, but like he's actually really witty in person.
Yeah, dude, he is like how most comedians I know are that are not like life of the party dude, but he is fucking very funny. He's he's quick.
He's got a wit to him, and he's hot, which helps. That's always good.
He's hot. Fuck.
And it's kind of nice. Speaking to that, it's nice to have like a good-looking jam band for once. Like, jam bands are not
sing.
He can sing. That's rare. They can sing better than Phish. He's a better singer than Trey.
It's great.
Not as unique, but more in tune.
And I don't go to Goose looking for a Phish fix. It's a completely different thing.
No, Phish is touring. Go to Phish for that.
I go to Phish for that.
And it's like,
and I like there are other bands that I like that are completely different than Phish that I will go see because it's not like Phish. And I don't know. They are similar in a lot of ways, but I don't think any Goose song sounds like a Phish song.
I mean, there's a 4-piece fucking East Coast jam band. There's gonna be some Venn diagram shit going on, but like that's every jam band. You know what I mean? But it's I don't. For some reason, the jam band community is like the worst about this. Comparing bands, hating the band that isn't your band, even though they're like best friends. You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
the guys in the bands don't feel this way. They don't
they think you're idiots. They think you're fucking
morons.
losers.
They think you're
yeah. Like we're all making fun of you. Like you're not gonna win us over by calling one of our good friends that we probably like more than the guys in our own band a loser. You know what I mean?
I was just talking to my buddy Sean about how Frasco kind of like jokingly started a bit about how there's an Eggy Dogs rivalry.
No, me and him started that on the pod.
Yeah. And like Sean is touring with Eggy right now. He's doing their like merch and their social media stuff. And he's like, we'll have people be like, dude, I love your guys' like rivalry with Dogs. Like, fuck those guys. And they're like, we don't have a rivalry with Dogs. Like, there's no.
It is good for business, though. Let's keep that going.
But it's good for business. It's like wrestling.
It is fun. Yeah, it is. And like that one's fun. It's outward. It's not like I don't know. We started that.
That one's clearly fun.
Yeah, I started that during the award show one year. I think it was like the beef I want to see in 2024. It would be cool to see them fight though.
That's a bit that I do in my stand-up here and there. I didn't do it on the ship because I'm trying to do new material all the time. But I did at Mondegreen about how I wish that there was. Like, can you imagine if there was like a diss track that came out from like fucking? That'd be great.
But what would they say? Everybody's the problem is everyone's so similar. It's all just a bunch of white guys with beards.
Everyone's so nice. Everyone loves each other so much.
I know. I think Lettuce could probably do a good one. They got some vibe to them.
I feel like La Special could probably do a good one.
Yeah, but then everybody make fun of them for being 5'6".
Yeah, for sure.
Luke. But so I don't know. The problem with that is like they're all kind of the same guy. They're all like, I went to some state college and white. And my girlfriend's 6 years younger than me.
Yeah, they're just making fun of the same thing.
Yeah, it's like you pretty much have to make fun of yourself, which I guess that could be good too. I don't know. Good. What band? Who do you think would like? We have talked about this on our podcast before. Like, who do you think would win in a fight if like every jam band guy just like had a fight tournament? Probably Joe from Dogs in the Pile is my.
Joe is a fucking. I would want him on my team if I was in that fight. That kid.
He's scary.
Yeah, dude, and he's
big.
Yeah, and you don't want any piece of that. I feel like I
could beat the shit out of Jimmy Law though. I know I could beat the shit out of Jimmy Law.
Dude, Jimmy's an athlete. Jimmy
I know,
played baseball.
He's so nice though.
He's from Jersey, dude. Those kids are all I don't know. I feel like Dogs in the Pile kicks everybody's fucking ass.
No, they would, and they're young, so they still have the energy in their body.
Yeah.
Humphreys back in the day were some dogs.
I was gonna say Humphreys was kind of who first came to mind, but I feel like Dogs just beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, because they're younger.
The Eggy guys are like comedy troupe. They're like, they're like funny. An improv troupe. They're funny. Yeah, they're funny and like just cool.
They're like theater kids a little bit, yeah.
They're like theater kids, yeah. Goose.
Too busy getting laid.
I'm sorry, guys. There's just no fucking way.
And there's only 4 of them now.
They're doing cacao ceremonies before the show. These guys are gonna get their fucking asses kicked.
Are they doing that? They do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes.
That's wild. No, that makes me like them less actually.
And yeah, I don't know.
I wonder who started that. Doesn't seem like a Rick thing.
I bet Fishman could kick some ass.
But he's like 5'1".
Yeah, but he's a fucking sturdy dude. I mean, he's got
big
fucking forearms and shit. Like
he does. But the height thing doesn't matter. That's why they have weight classes. I
wouldn't want to catch one from if Fishman could reach me. I wouldn't want to catch one from him.
Yeah, but he can't. But
he can't.
He can't even get close to reaching you. I don't know, man. It's pretty fun to talk about. Who do you think is the biggest theater kids in the jam band scene? I know my answer.
The biggest theater kids in the jam band scene. Well, I know that the Goose guys are not theater kids. And so
And a balloon sitting.
it's probably
Speaking of theater kids.
fuck, man. It's actually Eggy because those guys put out a lot of sketches and stuff like that.
I think it's pigeons.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely
Yeah.
pigeons. What am I?
Yeah.
What am I even fucking talking about?
I mean, their whole thing. But Eggy, they have the theater kid energy too. But yeah, pigeons.
I don't think that Jeremy or Gator or any of those guys are to blame for that.
No, we all know who it is.
I think Greg has more costumes than anyone in the if the whole jam band scene got together and was like, let's pool together our costumes, I think Greg would still beat everybody.
Yeah, and he has like a theater kid energy on. Like, I could see Greg doing like a one-man show.
Yeah, I don't know what I
mean that as an insult.
Yeah, right. No.
Hell yeah.
It's just called Scrambled, a one-man show.
Yeah, Scrambled Greg. Yeah,
Greg.
I think Twiddle is like, they're not very. Mahali's like the anti-theater kid.
Not theater kids. Yeah, Spafford's not theater kids.
Nah. Humphreys,
Dogs are not theater kids.
SCI a little bit. String Cheese a little bit. There's some theater kid in there.
For sure.
More like corny ski guy, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, Eggy are not theater kids. They're like they go watch their friends who do theater. Like they're like
they're like AV club kids.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
They're like they would like be in the theater club, but they'd like be the people like the stage managers and shit.
Yeah, right.
Like running the soundboard and like doing the video and shit. That's them.
And same with Goose. Goose was not theater kids, but they were theater
way too hot.
Yep. They couldn't be associated.
Rick's too hot to be a theater kid.
Couldn't be associated.
Exactly. He's like his own thing, man. He's playing acoustic guitar in the dorm room, man.
This guy's fucking awesome.
I love that guy. It's fun to be pro Goose.
I have a joke like with my other buddies who have met like Rick. We're always like, you can't be funny too, dude. Like because he's like so fucking hot, and then he's like a really fucking good musician, and like you don't get to be funny too, dude.
Yep. And he's like the kind of funny that you can't learn.
I can't play guitar at all. I can play youth pastor guitar, like open chords. I play guitar as much as I should be able to for how funny I am.
Exactly.
But he should not be able to be that funny.
You know who else is really funny? Benny Bloom from Lettuce.
Yeah, dude.
He's a funny musician. Obviously, me.
Obviously, you're funny. Obviously, I'm fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I wish Andy was funny, man.
Yeah, he's funny. Actually, people are. He's funny. He's got a little theater kid in him too. While we're at it,
Andy's very funny.
He's a theater kid. I think Andy's funny.
Theater kid.
I think we're funny. Me and Andy are funny in very different ways, and that's why the podcast works so well.
Andy is not theater kid energy. Andy is like the guy who I like would text me that he's outside. He's like, we're going and we're smoking a bowl and we're driving around. And I'm inside watching the theater, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to leave the show. And
that's true. And he's also sneaky hot.
He's got a very charming smile.
He's got a charming smile. He cleans up really well. Like if you see him when he goes to like his friend's wedding, you're like, oh shit, this is a hot guy.
He kind of wore like that blue button up for the Kanika Moore thing. I was like, look at church Andy Frasco. Look at this guy.
Synagogue Andy Frasco, but yeah.
Synagogue Andy Frasco.
Or temple. But Andy's one of those sneaky hot guys. He's sneaky hot. He doesn't present as hot, but then you get him in a suit with a nice watch and some nice shoes, and you're like, oh, wait a second. He might be a hot guy.
We got to talk to Andy about how many jokes he makes about how small his dick is, because then
I know
we're forced to believe.
Well, here's the thing.
Are forced to believe that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about the small dick thing. Usually, when guys joke about having a small penis, it's like they don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think with him, I'm starting to believe it.
It's so much that now it's gone the other way.
It sounds so honest when he says it. It sounds like he's complaining, not making fun of it. You know what I mean?
All of a sudden, I'm his therapist about the dick.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like when somebody makes fun of their small dick and it's like a joke. It's more like, I'm sad about my small penis.
Be like, you good, man?
He's like, no. But luckily, he has the charisma of a fucking car salesman. I mean, he's like one of the most charismatic people That's another thing.
The size of his dick, we got to work. I got to get him to stop joking about how small his dick is because I am worried that he might not ever get laid again.
Yeah, at least he'll be fine, but at least let it be a surprise. You know what I mean? But the thing, yeah, that's another thing with Andy. It's like he's got the charisma. That's another thing that I don't have. That's why
charismatic, man. Come on.
In a different way, though. You know what I mean? Like it's a more of a dry. You can tell my family's from England, you know. But I think that's why we, if people haven't, I'm sure there'll be a couple people that listen to our podcast, listen to this, but like check it out, Andy Frasco's World Saving Pod.
Definitely check out the Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast. I
listen to this and then that every week.
Yeah,
Have you checked it out?
Yeah, I've listened to the podcast.
It's very I think we do have a good chemistry together because we're so different.
The one I listened to, you guys have a perfect chemistry together. I originally the idea for this podcast, I was going to have my little brother be my co-host. Who?
Oh no!
The kid is awesome, but
his birthday today, right?
It is his birthday right now as we speak.
Yeah.
But it would have been a very similar type show. I mean, like he has he is so fucking funny, and he would be taking the piss out of my
right.
bigger
energy. Is he like you though, or is he a different kind of funny?
He's like me. I don't know. Kyle's a lot funnier than I am because he doesn't need the attention. And he's a lot cooler funny. He's got a very sly, slick,
right. He's not
dry, but also
They say a comedian, stand-up comedians, always have the funniest friends. They're it's like they just have they guys that work at guys who work in factories and shit or whatever from home are usually the funniest people you've ever met in your life. Just a southern car mechanic, they're the funniest people you will ever meet.
Everybody who I worked with in the kitchen at Rosati's is the funniest fucking person.
Exactly.
I mean, the mornings of prep in the kitchen of rolling dough balls and stuff that was the funniest room to ever be in. And I've now been in a room with a lot of comedians, and those are still
comedians aren't funny.
No,
I mean they're funny, but off stage they don't because it's their job.
I'm very boring.
They're not you're pretty funny, but you're not trying to be funny.
I bring Jess and Kyle, my little brother, along so that people have fun when they're around me because I'm not a very.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was just gonna say that your girlfriend is a little more entertaining than you are on the hang.
Oh yeah, just way more fun.
She's also a good-looking woman.
She's also very hot. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're hot too. You're pretty hot, right?
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
You guys are a hot couple. You guys gonna have
Kyle's
some kids?
hot. Kyle's a different kind of hot though. Kyle's funny. And
he has long hair, right?
Parties. He's a better partier than me. I go to bed early, and Kyle's fucking all night.
How old is he?
He's 4 years younger than me. He's 29.
Okay, so he's got the long hair too. That's cool.
Yeah, dude, he's cool. He's a cool guy.
What does he do?
Golf. He works in golf. He works at a very fancy golf course.
He's a golf pro?
He works in the
green.
He is a golf pro, but he's not a teaching pro anymore. He doesn't do that anymore. He's works in the clubhouse and runs all their events and stuff.
Holy shit. What a dream job.
I know, man.
Do you golf? You're wearing a golf hat. I just realized that.
I golf. I golfed in college.
You're a college golfer?
I college for 1 year, a Division III school in Wisconsin called Concordia, Wisconsin. I golfed for 1 year.
Oh, I've heard of that school.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, right? Aren't there they're around? There's other Concordias in Indiana too, I think.
Yes, of course. Well, of course, the Midwest guy, has heard.
I know a lot of weird shit though. Remember, I host a trivia show.
That's very true.
Yeah, but golf's weird because there's D3 schools that are as good as the D1s. It's like baseball. There's D3 guys.
I got to my school and I saw the scores of the team, and I was like, oh, I could play. I could be on the team. And then I worked out an extra couple grand of scholarships for being on the team. And then as soon as I was on the team, I was like, I don't want to do this at all.
It seems awful because you don't get there's no benefits to being a golf team with baseball or basketball or football.
No.
There's no golf groupies.
No, you do not do it for the kids.
The only girls around are the women's golf team, and they're not really probably that into dudes.
Nope, they didn't want to talk. And the guys on the team were not treating it like it was D3 college golf. They were treating it like it was the PGA Tour. And we're traveling for events and stuff. And I'm bringing some weed along, grabbing some booze from the gas station downstairs, and everyone's just like, dude, are you fucking serious? We have a fucking match.
Dude, we're D3.
I'm like, yeah, no one's going pro, man.
You're in the 80s.
What are you talking about? Yeah, you shoot 82 every single time we go out, dude.
Exactly. Like Tiger Woods thinks you suck, dude. You're never gonna you're not gonna make the cut at a PGA Tour.
You're gonna be the second best guy in every scramble group in your company's outing every single year for the rest of your life.
Being that good at golf, though, like that level is kind of a good skill to have for like business and the rest of your life. Like,
I hang out with comedians and musicians that none of them play golf. None of them care about that at all.
I know. Frasco's been trying. I've actually never golfed, but Frasco's been trying to get into it. There's some good golf in Colorado, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's from South Carolina or
who?
Frasco?
No, he's from LA.
Oh no, he's from LA. That's right.
Yeah.
LA too.
Yeah, there's good golf around Colorado though, for sure, because it's sunny here all the time.
Definitely, dude.
I live right by City Park Golf Course. There's always people out there. Did your brother play college golf somewhere?
He played football for a year and then flunked. He kind of left that school and then
a wide receiver
went to play. No, he's way skinnier than he used to be. He used to be a way bigger dude.
Oh, he used to be a big dude. Okay.
Used to be a bigger guy. And he went to some golf school in South Carolina. That's what
really?
Yeah, he went to some PGA pro school there.
He hardcore lessons.
I think it's a 2-year degree from this place, and then he's worked at all these different sick ass golf courses.
Dude, what a life though.
I know. Yeah, dude.
Where does he live?
Scottsdale. And
my God.
The course that he works Hollywood. At is really famous athletes are members there.
Yeah. A lot of people retire there, right?
Oh yeah. He had Larry David at his course the other day.
Yeah. What do you think about this analogy? Denver is to jam bands as Scottsdale is to golf.
Yes. 1,000%. Dude.
Who's got a baby in San Francisco? Where do you live? San Francisco, right?
I live outside of San Francisco. I live in Alameda, East Bay.
No one lives actually in San Francisco, I guess. Do you live close to San Mateo at all?
No, it's an island off of Oakland, and so it's right off of Oakland. So I'm East Bay. I'm still in the Bay. God damn.
It's not that loud for me.
Anyway, I will edit the end of this, and I do an intro and outro, and it just kind of I'll fade it out at some point through the end of our conversation there. Anyway,
sorry, I talked a lot. I'm not used to that.
That's the point. So that was my conversation with Nick Gerlach. Man, good guy. Good guy alert. Love hanging out with Nick. Love getting a chance to talk with him on the boat and joke around and talk some shit about Andy. Cannot wait to cross paths with Nick again. Those guys have assured me that I will never be on the World Saving Podcast. They're you're just not famous enough. We get people that are real famous, and you're Instagram famous. So unfortunately, no, those guys are the best. They let me open for the World Saving Podcast on the ship. I completely bombed that 5 minutes, but they were nice enough to let me on. And I can't wait to see those guys again. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And until next time, guys, have a great show.